John Carver adjusted the focus on his telescope, scanning the velvet expanse of the night sky. The remote observatory was silent except for the occasional beep of equipment and the soft hum of computers analyzing data. As he recorded the celestial coordinates and movements, a pattern emerged that didn't fit the expected astronomical models. "Tom, come take a look at this," Carver called out to his colleague, Dr. Tom Benson, who was engrossed in his own set of monitors across the room. "What's up?" Tom walked over, curiosity lighting up his face as he peered over Carver's shoulder. "See this data here? These anomalies in the gamma-ray frequencies? They've been consistent for the last 3 nights. It doesn't match any known cosmic event," Carver explained, pointing at the screen displaying a series of erratic spikes. Tom rubbed his chin, eyes narrowing as he studied the readings. "You think this could be interference? Maybe something earthly?" "It's isolated to this sector only," Carver replied, his finger tracing a small section of the sky on the map. "If it were terrestrial interference, we'd see it across the board." Intrigued, Tom suggested, "Let's cross-check with the LiDAR system. If there's something out there, we might catch it on a different spectrum." Hours later, the LiDAR system painted a different picture. There were definitive shapes moving in a coordinated pattern, invisible to the naked eye and conventional radar. Carver's pulse quickened as he realized the implications. "Tom, this could be it. We might be looking at—" "No, it can't be." "Extraterrestrial?" Tom completed his thought, barely a whisper, both men aware of the magnitude of such a claim. "We need more data before we jump to conclusions. Let's set up a continuous monitoring loop and reach out to some of our contacts. If this is what we think it is, we can't sit on it," Carver decided, already drafting an email to a trusted peer at NASA. The following day, after confirming the preliminary findings with additional observatories worldwide, the duo prepared a confidential report. They headed to the capital to meet with government officials, an air of urgency surrounding their trip. In a secure conference room, Carver and Tom presented their findings to a group of skeptical but attentive officials. "Gentlemen, our observations suggest that these aren't natural phenomena. We believe these could be artificially created structures, possibly spacecraft," Carver stated, controlling his voice to keep it steady. A murmur ran through the room. The Secretary of Defense, a stern man with years of experience in national security, leaned forward. "Are you suggesting we have invisible visitors in our solar system?" "That's exactly what we're suggesting, sir," Tom replied, "and they've managed to evade detection until now." The implications were clear. If there were invisible ships in space, what were their intentions? Were they observing? Planning? "We need to consider all possibilities, including potential threats. We need a task force to investigate this further. Dr. Carver, Dr. Benson, we want you on board as scientific advisors. We'll need to mobilize our resources discreetly," the Secretary of Defense announced. As they left the meeting, Carver felt the weight of the situation. They were stepping into uncharted territory, dealing with technology far beyond human understanding. It was no longer just about observing the stars. It was about protecting them. That evening, as they reviewed their data again, Tom looked over at Carver with a determined look. "John, whatever comes next, we're in this together. Let's figure out what they're up to and make sure we're ready for them." Carver nodded, feeling the camaraderie and burden of their shared responsibility. "We'll find the answers, Tom. Humanity always does." The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the very limits of human ingenuity and courage. Unbeknownst to them, their actions over the coming months would define the future of Earth and its place in the cosmos. After weeks of meticulous planning and preparation, John Carver and Tom Benson sat in a bustling control center surrounded by a team of top scientists and military strategists. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as they monitored the skies for any sign of the alien vessels detected in their earlier research. "We're going live with the thorium array in 3 minutes, announced General Marcus Steele, the operation commander, his voice steady over the room's PA system. Carver watched as the team checked and rechecked their instruments, making sure everything was calibrated for what could be humanity's first deliberate attempt to communicate with an extraterrestrial civilization. "Systems check complete. We're green across the board," Tom reported, looking over at Carver with an encouraging nod. Carver stepped forward, adjusting the microphone in front of him. "This is it, everyone. Let's make history." The clock ticked down, and at 0, the thorium array, a powerful transmission device built under Carver and Tom's supervision, sent a focused signal towards the coordinates where the alien ships were last detected. The message was simple: a mathematical greeting designed to convey intelligence and a desire for peaceful contact. Minutes passed in agonizing silence as they waited for a response. Just as doubt began to creep into the room, the monitors lit up with a reply. The alien response was not in any decipherable language, but it was unmistakably a constructed signal, structured and repeating. "We have a response. They're acknowledging our signal," Tom exclaimed, his voice a mix of excitement and disbelief. The room erupted in cautious cheers, but Carver remained focused on the screens. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need to understand what they're saying." As linguists and cryptographers worked on the signal, a more pressing concern arose. Radar systems picked up an object decloaking in Earth's orbit. The once invisible alien ship was now visible, and its presence was a stark reminder of the potential danger of this encounter. General Steele issued orders with calm precision. "Scramble the intercept teams. I want eyes on that ship. Keep it non-aggressive. We're not initiating a fight." Carver and Tom watched anxiously as jet fighters equipped with advanced cameras flew towards the alien vessel. The world held its breath as humans approached the alien technology for the first time. The alien ship remained stationary, seemingly waiting as the jets circled and relayed detailed images back to the control center. The design was sleek, almost artistic, with surfaces that shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Suddenly, a transmission came through, clearer this time. The linguistics team managed to translate a basic greeting and a request for dialogue. "They want to talk, face to face." General Steele relayed the information to Carver and Tom. "They're asking for a representative to meet on neutral ground, space." Carver felt every eye in the room on him. After a brief moment of contemplation, he spoke up. "I'll go. I found them. I should be the one to meet them." General Steele nodded. "Prepare the shuttle. Dr. Carver, Dr. Benson, you both will be our ambassadors today." Hours later, suited in specially designed space gear, Carver and Tom approached the alien ship in a shuttle. The tension was palpable as they docked with the alien vessel, the mechanical sounds of the airlock sealing adding to the surreal nature of the moment. Inside the alien ship, they were greeted by a holographic interface through which the aliens communicated. The beings were translucent in the projection, with elongated faces and calm, piercing eyes. "We greet you, Earth beings. We have watched you for eons, never interfering until now," the hologram spoke, its voice echoing slightly in the chamber. Carver took the lead, his voice firm yet open. "We seek peace and understanding. What brought you out of hiding?" The alien's response was direct. "Your detection of us has forced a new chapter in our relations. We can no longer observe from the shadows. We must coexist, learn from each other, or face the consequences of misunderstanding." As the dialogue unfolded, Carver and Tom realized the gravity of their role, not just as representatives of Earth, but as pioneers of a new era in human history. Following the momentous first contact, John Carver and Tom Benson returned to Earth with a mix of awe and concern. The alien species, which identified themselves as the Vakari, had shared enough to suggest their technology far surpassed anything humans possessed, particularly their ability to cloak their presence. It was clear the Vakari had been acting as unseen overseers of the galaxy, and their sudden visibility introduced new uncertainties. Back at the Pentagon, a high-level meeting convened to discuss the next steps. General Steele, alongside political leaders and the two scientists, debated the implications of the Vakari's revelations. "We need to consider all scenarios, including the possibility of hostilities," General Steele stated, his gaze fixed on a large screen displaying a map of Earth and the surrounding space. "Their technology could easily tip the scales in any conflict." Carver leaned forward, his face serious. "They spoke of peace, but also of consequences if we fail to understand each other. We should prepare, not provoke." Tom chimed in. "I agree with John. We should focus on bridging the communication gap and understanding their technology better. Perhaps we can find a way to coexist without triggering a war." The discussion turned towards strategic defense, with Carver and Tom advocating for a balanced approach that would prepare Earth for potential conflict while striving for diplomatic resolutions. The world's governments quietly ramped up their defenses, upgrading satellites and deploying sensors capable of detecting cloaked ships. Meanwhile, the Vakari initiated their own moves. Small, unseen crafts began to appear all over Earth, observing and sometimes subtly interfering in human affairs. Their motives remained unclear, and every incident of their involvement raised the global tension. The tipping point came when a Vakari craft was detected over a military base in Europe, leading to a confrontation that escalated quickly. Earth's newly installed defense systems tracked and exposed the ship, prompting immediate action. "General, we've got a visual on the Vakari craft. It's uncloaked and stationary," reported a technician in the control room. "Engage defensive protocols. Do not fire unless fired upon," ordered General Steele, his voice a calm command over the tense room. Carver, watching the live feed from the command center, felt a rush of adrenaline. The world was on the brink, and every decision now could lead to peace or a devastating war. The standoff lasted hours, with global leaders and the Vakari communicating frantically to de-escalate the situation. Eventually, the Vakari ship withdrew, but the incident left a clear message. The Earth was now part of a larger, more dangerous galaxy. In the aftermath, Carver and Tom worked tirelessly, developing a deeper understanding of the Vakari's language and culture. They proposed the establishment of a United Earth Space Agency, USA, which would serve as the primary body for interstellar diplomacy and defense. As Earth's capabilities grew, so did its readiness. Under the guidance of USA, humanity began constructing its first fleet of spacecraft equipped with anti-cloaking technology and advanced weaponry. Training for pilots and crew started in secret, with Carver and Tom playing crucial roles in strategy and training. The Invisible War had begun, not with open conflict, but with a high-stakes shadow game of technology, diplomacy, and occasional brinkmanship. Each side watched the other, learning and adapting, preparing for the possibility that the next confrontation could escalate into a full-scale war. Carver, now a key figure in Earth's defense, felt the weight of his role. He often stood at the command center, looking out at the stars, wondering about the future. Beside him, Tom shared the sentiment, both aware that the decisions they made would shape the future of humanity in this uncertain cosmic arena. Months after the standoff in Europe, the uneasy peace continued to hold, but both sides remained vigilant. Humanity's defenses and technologies had improved, yet the Vakari remained an enigma, their intentions as opaque as their cloaking devices. John Carver and Tom Benson continued their work, striving to bridge the vast chasm between human and Vakari understanding. Late one evening, as Carver reviewed data from the latest sensor arrays, he received a clandestine communication. The message was cryptic, requesting a meeting at a secure location outside the city. Intrigued and cautious, Carver agreed, bringing Tom along for backup. Under the cover of darkness, they arrived at the designated spot, an abandoned warehouse that had once been part of a sprawling industrial complex. As they entered, a figure stepped out of the shadows, a Vakari, but unlike any they had seen before. "I am Zeral," the Vakari introduced himself, his voice modulated through a translator. "I represent a faction opposed to our current leadership. We seek to change our path before it leads to war." Carver and Tom exchanged a look of surprise and skepticism. "Why come to us?" Carver asked, his mind racing with the implications of this encounter. Zeral's image flickered slightly, a sign of the stress on his cloaking device. "Because you and your planet are the pivot on which the future turns. We believe in coexistence, in learning from one another, not in domination or destruction." The revelation of internal dissent within the Vakari ranks provided a new angle from which to approach the ongoing tensions. Carver and Tom listened intently as Zeral outlined the political structure of his society and the reasons for the growing unrest. "The ruling council fears what you might become," Zeral continued. "They see only threats where they could find partners. My faction believes that fear is driving us toward an unnecessary conflict." Tom, ever the strategist, saw the potential. "And how can we help each other?" he asked. "We need assistance in gaining strength, enough to challenge the council," Zeral responded. "In exchange, we can offer intelligence, technology, and an alliance that could tip the balance towards peace." The proposition was risky. Allying with a rebel faction of an alien race could complicate international politics on Earth and escalate into open conflict with the Vakari. Yet the opportunity to avoid a war and possibly gain a powerful ally was tempting. After ensuring Zeral's intentions through a series of discreet vetting procedures, Carver and Tom decided to bring the proposal to General Steele and the newly formed USA. The discussions were intense, fraught with debates on ethics, security, and the potential for a trap. Ultimately, the decision was made to support Zeral discreetly, providing him with limited resources while gaining invaluable insights into Vakari technologies and political movements. This covert alliance marked a significant shift in Earth's strategy, moving from passive defense to active engagement in Vakari politics. The months that followed saw a delicate dance of exchanges between Earth and Zeral's faction. Technology and information flowed quietly between the two allies, each operation wrapped in layers of secrecy. Carver, though burdened by the weight of his decisions, felt a cautious optimism. He often met with Zaral, discussing plans and possibilities, their shared vision of a future where Vakari and humans could coexist, shaping their every move. Tom, on the other hand, managed the operations, ensuring that each exchange went unnoticed by both Vakari loyalists and Earth's own populace. As Earth's understanding of Vakari technology grew, so did its ability to defend itself. A new era of innovation dawned, fueled by the alliance with Zaral's faction. But with each advancement, the risk of discovery increased, threatening to ignite the very conflict they all hoped to avoid. The fragile alliance between John Carver, Tom Benson, and the Vakari rebel faction, led by Zaral, continued to strengthen. However, the broader interstellar situation remained tense and precarious. Earth's bolstered defenses and newfound alien technology began to change the balance of power, attracting unwanted attention from the Vakari ruling council. The Vakari, aware of Earth's rapid advancements but not of the rebel alliance, decided to make a demonstrative move to reassert their dominance. Their target was Terra Nova, a burgeoning human colony on the edge of known space. It was strategically unimportant, but its symbolic value was immense. Its fall would send a clear message of Vakari supremacy and the futility of resistance. As the Vakari fleet advanced towards Terra Nova, their approach did not go unnoticed. Earth's early detection systems, enhanced by Vakari technology provided by Zaral, picked up the incoming threat. The news reached Carver and Tom at UESA headquarters, sparking an urgent response. "General Steele, we've confirmed the Vakari fleet's trajectory. They're headed straight for Terra Nova," reported Tom, his voice tense. General Steele, grim-faced and resolute, turned to address his tactical team. "Prepare the countermeasures. We'll show them that Earth is not defenseless. Carver, Tom, I need your expertise on the ground. Terra Nova must hold." Carver nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "We'll coordinate the colony's defenses. Let's ensure they're ready for what's coming." Arriving at Terra Nova, Carver and Tom found a community on edge but determined to defend their home. They worked quickly to implement a defense strategy, integrating Earth's latest technology with the colony's existing systems. Defensive turrets, energy shields, and a squadron of drone interceptors were readied for the impending battle. As the Vakari fleet broke through the outer defenses, the skies of Terra Nova lit up with the blaze of conflict. Carver coordinated the defense from the command center, while Tom was on the field, overseeing the deployment of ground forces and defensive drones. "John, we've managed to hold back their first wave, but there's more coming. Our shields won't hold much longer without reinforcements," Tom relayed over the comm link, the sound of explosions echoing in the background. Carver, analyzing the battle data, noticed a pattern in the Vakari attack formations. "Tom, lead the drones to intercept at Grid 7. I think I've found a weakness in their approach. It's a risk, but it might push them back." Trusting Carver's instincts, Tom directed the drone squadron to the critical point, executing a surprise counterattack that exploited the Vakari's temporary disarray. The maneuver worked, giving the defenders a much-needed advantage. Meanwhile, Zaral, in a covert operation, managed to sabotage one of the Vakari capital ships, creating further chaos within the invading fleet. This act of rebellion went unnoticed by his peers, but significantly tipped the scales in favor of Terra Nova. The battle raged for hours, but the resilience and ingenuity of the Terra Nova defenders, guided by Carver and Tom's strategic planning, gradually turned the tide. The Vakari fleet, hampered by unexpected resistance and internal sabotage, was forced to retreat. In the aftermath of the battle, Terra Nova emerged victorious, but scarred. The colony's population celebrated their survival, but mourned their losses. Carver and Tom, amidst the mixed emotions, felt a renewed sense of purpose. "We've held them off for now, but this is just the beginning," Carver said to Tom as they surveyed the damaged colony. "We need to prepare for what's next. They will come back and we must be ready." Tom nodded in agreement, his gaze firm and determined. "We'll be ready, John. Earth and its colonies aren't just surviving anymore. We're learning how to fight back." The siege of Terra Nova became a turning point, galvanizing Earth's resolve to defend its sovereignty and its right to thrive among the stars. The invisible war was no longer one-sided, and humanity was now a formidable player in the cosmic arena. In the wake of the victory at Terra Nova, Earth's spirits were high. Humanity had not only defended one of its colonies, but it also demonstrated its growing prowess in interstellar defense. However, John Carver, ever vigilant, sensed that the battle had revealed only a fraction of the Vakari capabilities and intentions. The real threat, he suspected, might come from within. Back at USA headquarters, Carver and Tom Benson pored over the intelligence gathered from the battle. Among the data were unusual communication intercepts and encrypted transmissions not matching known Vakari patterns. "Tom, look at this," Carver pointed out on his screen. "These signals were bouncing off from within our own systems. It looks like sabotage." Tom leaned in, analyzing the data. "You think we have a mole, or worse, an infiltrator?" "It's the only explanation that fits. Someone's been feeding the Vakari information about our defenses," Carver concluded, his expression grim. Determined to root out the traitor, Carver proposed a covert operation to monitor and trap the suspected infiltrator. General Steele, informed of the potential breach, approved the plan with a strict directive to maintain the utmost secrecy. The operation was meticulous. Carver and Tom set up discreet surveillance on key personnel and implemented traps in the data streams, hoping to catch the infiltrator in the act. Days turned into weeks, and just when it seemed like their efforts were in vain, a break in the pattern emerged. "We've got him," Tom whispered during a late-night monitoring session. The suspect, a high-ranking communications officer, had attempted to transmit a burst of encrypted data off-planet. With the evidence in hand, Carver and Tom coordinated with security forces to apprehend the officer. The arrest was swift and silent, the traitor caught off guard and unable to destroy evidence or alert his contacts. Under interrogation, the officer revealed a network of Vakari sleeper agents implanted across Earth and other colonies. These agents had been using their positions to relay strategic information back to their home planet, preparing for a larger, more devastating invasion. Carver realized the depth of the deception. "They've been playing a long game, Tom. This isn't just about territory. It's about infiltration and subversion." With the network exposed, a series of raids and arrests followed. Each sleeper agent was systematically removed, their information exploited to secure Earth's defense systems further. However, the exposure of the sleeper network had an unintended consequence. The Vakari, realizing their covert strategy was compromised, decided to escalate their plans. Without the element of surprise, they resorted to direct confrontation. Carver, leading the charge, coordinated Earth's response. Using the intelligence gathered from the sleeper agents, he devised counter-strategies to mitigate the Vakari's next moves. Earth's forces were put on high alert, and every ship, satellite, and station was braced for an imminent attack. Meanwhile, Tom spearheaded a public reassurance campaign, bolstering civilian morale and ensuring the public that Earth was prepared to defend itself against any threats. He worked closely with leaders and media outlets, conveying a message of unity and strength. As Earth fortified its defenses, Carver felt the weight of command heavier than ever. He knew the real battle was just beginning, and the stakes were nothing less than the survival and freedom of humanity. "Whatever comes next, we're ready," Carver stated confidently to his team, their faces set with determination. "They brought the war to us, but we'll be the ones to end it. Let's show them Earth isn't just another planet to conquer." With their forces mobilized and the world united, Carver, Tom, and their allies prepared to face the Vakari onslaught. The shadow within had been illuminated, and Earth stood ready, its resolve unbroken. The discovery of the Vakari sleeper agents and the swift neutralization of their network gave Earth a critical advantage. But the battle was far from over. Intelligence gathered from the captured agents revealed that the Vakari were planning a massive assault through the Expanse, a vast and treacherous region of space filled with natural and artificial hazards. John Carver and Tom Benson, now seasoned leaders in Earth's defense, stood in the command center, reviewing the latest satellite imagery and strategic reports. "The Expanse is their best route for a surprise attack," Carver said, pointing to the holographic map. "If they get through, they'll be able to strike at multiple key locations. We have to intercept them here." General Steele, who had become a staunch supporter of Carver's strategies, nodded in agreement. "We'll need every available ship and soldier for this. The Expanse is dangerous, but it could also work to our advantage. If we use the environment wisely, we can level the playing field." Preparations began immediately. Earth's fleet, bolstered by technology shared by the Vakari rebels, was outfitted with enhanced shields and weapon systems. Pilots and crew underwent intensive training, focusing on navigating the hazardous terrain of the Expanse. As the fleet mobilized, Carver and Tom shared a moment of reflection. "This is it, John," Tom said quietly. "All our efforts, everything we've worked for, comes down to this battle." Carver nodded, his expression resolute. "We'll make it count, Tom. For Earth, and for everyone who's counting on us." The Earth fleet entered the Expanse, a region filled with asteroid fields, volatile gas clouds, and abandoned space stations. The journey was perilous, with the fleet constantly maneuvering to avoid collisions and ambushes. Carver led from the front, his tactical brilliance guiding the fleet through the treacherous terrain. The first contact with the Vakari fleet was explosive. The enemy ships, using their cloaking technology, launched surprise attacks from hidden positions within the asteroid fields. But Earth's forces, prepared and vigilant, responded with precision. Advanced detection systems and adaptive tactics turned the environment into a battlefield advantage. Carver's voice echoed through the command channels. "Focus fire on their cloaked positions, use the asteroid fields to cover our flanks, and remember, they're not invincible." Tom, coordinating ground forces on a nearby station, rallied the troops. "Hold your positions and stay sharp. We're the last line of defense if they break through the fleet." The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of explosions and laser fire lighting up the dark expanse of space. Earth's forces, though outnumbered, fought with tenacity and ingenuity. Carver's strategies and the crew's determination began to turn the tide. In a critical maneuver, Carver directed a squadron to exploit a weakness in the Vakari formation. "Now, hit their command ship. This is our chance." The squadron executed the plan flawlessly, disabling the Vakari command ship and throwing their fleet into disarray. The loss of their command center disrupted the Vakari coordination, allowing Earth's forces to press the advantage. As the Vakari fleet attempted to regroup, a sudden surge of energy readings came from deep within the expanse. Zaral, leading a contingent of rebel Vakari fighters, emerged from the shadows, attacking their own fleet. The rebel faction's betrayal caused chaos among the loyalist Vakari, further tipping the balance in favor of Earth. "Zaral, you magnificent bastard," Carver muttered with a smile, watching as the rebel Vakari wreaked havoc on their former comrades. With the combined efforts of Earth's fleet and the Vakari rebels, the enemy was finally defeated. The remnants of the Vakari fleet retreated, their invasion plans shattered. In the aftermath of the battle, the expanse was littered with the debris of war. Earth's fleet, though battered, emerged victorious. The victory was a testament to human resilience and the power of unexpected alliances. Carver and Tom, aboard the command ship, looked out at the stars. "We did it, John. We really did it," Tom said, a mixture of relief and exhaustion in his voice. Carver nodded, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. "This was just one battle, Tom, but it was a crucial one. We've shown the Vakari that Earth is not to be underestimated." As they began the journey back to Earth, the crew celebrated their hard-fought victory. But both Carver and Tom knew that the war was far from over. The Battle of the Expanse had proven humanity's strength, but the future still held many uncertainties. For now, though, they allowed themselves a moment of respite, knowing they had struck a significant blow against their formidable enemy. The Battle of the Expanse had been a turning point, but John Carver and Tom Benson knew the war with the Vakari was far from over. As Earth's fleet returned home, victorious yet wary, they began preparing for the inevitable next phase of the conflict. They were aware that the Vakari, although beaten back, would regroup and strike again with renewed fury. Back at USA headquarters, the atmosphere was a mixture of celebration and urgent planning. Earth's leaders, buoyed by the recent victory, were keenly aware of the challenges that lay ahead. Carver and Tom convened with General Steele and other key figures to strategize the next steps. "Gentlemen, our victory in the Expanse was significant, but the Vakari will not retreat for long," General Steele began, his voice grave. "We need to take the fight to them, to their homeworld. It's the only way to secure lasting peace." Carver, thoughtful, nodded. "Agreed. We have the momentum, and now, with the help of Zaral and the Vakari rebels, we have the intelligence we need to strike at their core." Zaral, who had joined the meeting via a secure holographic link, added, "The Vakari Council is vulnerable now. Their fleet is in disarray, and internal dissent is at an all-time high. This is our best chance." With the plan set, preparations for the assault on the Vakari homeworld began in earnest. Earth's fleet, now augmented with Vakari rebel ships and technology, was outfitted for a direct confrontation. The mission was clear: disable the Vakari's central command and force their surrender. As the fleet embarked on its mission, Carver and Tom stood on the bridge of the flagship, overseeing final checks. "Ready for this, Tom?" Carver asked, his eyes scanning the stars. "Always," Tom replied with a determined smile. "Let's end this." The journey to the Vakari homeworld was tense but uneventful. Using the rebel faction's knowledge of hidden routes and safe passages, the fleet avoided detection. Upon arrival, they were met with the formidable defenses of the Vakari capital. The sky was thick with warships, and the ground bristled with anti-aircraft emplacements. "Deploy the cloaking devices and prepare for Phase 1, Carver ordered. Earth's fleet used the same technology that had once been their enemy's greatest strength. Cloaked and nearly invisible, the fleet advanced. The first phase of the assault focused on disabling the planetary defense grid. Covert teams, including elite human and Vakari rebel operatives, infiltrated key installations, planting EMP charges to disable the defenses. The operation was executed with precision, and within hours, the Vakari's formidable grid was offline. "Phase 1 complete, commencing full-scale assault," Tom reported, adrenaline coursing through his veins. With the defenses down, Earth's fleet uncloaked and launched a devastating assault on the Vakari capital. The skies erupted with the fury of battle, ships weaving through intense crossfire. On the ground, rebel forces engaged loyalist troops, turning the city into a battlefield. Carver led a strike team to the heart of the Vakari command center. The mission was perilous, the corridors of the enemy stronghold filled with traps and enemy combatants. But Carver's team pressed forward, their resolve unshakable. In the command center's central chamber, Carver confronted the Vakari High Commander. The alien leader, imposing and stern, stood ready for a final stand. "You've come far, human," the High Commander said, his voice a low growl. "But you cannot hope to defeat us." Carver, undeterred, replied, "We already have. Surrender, and this ends today." The battle was fierce, but Carver's tactical prowess and the combined strength of his team prevailed. The High Commander was captured, and the remaining Vakari forces, seeing their leader's defeat, began to lay down their arms. As the dust settled, the Vakari Council convened for peace talks. Zeral and his rebel faction played a crucial role in mediating the negotiations, ensuring a fair and lasting agreement. Back on Earth, the news of victory was met with global celebrations. Carver and Tom returned as heroes, their efforts having secured not just a military victory, but a new era of peace and cooperation. In a grand ceremony, Earth and Vakari leaders signed a treaty, marking the end of hostilities and the beginning of a new alliance. Carver and Tom, standing side by side with Zeral, looked out at the assembled crowd, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "This is just the beginning," Carver said quietly to Tom. "We've shown that even the unseen can be overcome with determination and unity." Tom nodded, his eyes reflecting the optimism of a brighter future. "Here's to a new chapter, my friend, one where we write our destiny among the stars."